What's up, guys? It's A Burns back with another Engineer Corner. So, the topic for this week's video, I had more requests than any other topic, and that is how to mix vocals, how to get them to sound clean, how to get them to stand out in the mix, that kind of thing. So, this week I'm going to show you guys how to do that with plugins that come with Pro Tools in case you don't have anything else. And then I'm going to show you how I do it using universal audio plugins, ProTools, FabFilters, that kind of thing. So if you want to go out and buy some of this stuff, you can do that. Let me start off by saying, though, you cannot get vocals that sound like they're Grammy award-winning vocals, even with a perfect mix, if they're recorded on a USB mic in a closet with no treatment. So first off, more than anything, basic bottom, make sure you record your vocals in an environment that's acoustically treated and you have a good microphone. With that being said, let's jump right in and I'll show you guys how to get your vocals to sound awesome. This song that I have here is a song from an artist out in Paris, France named Buzzy, and the vocals were really clean coming into it, and as you can see, these two red tracks up here are what we're going to focus on. The first one, as you can see, it says verse, that's the vocals, and then the one underneath says beat. So let me go ahead and just play the raw vocals for you guys so you can hear it.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days.
So those are his vocals, and as you can hear, they're clean, there's just nothing done to them. And if you play it with the beat, they really don't stand out at all.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days.
And almost the beat swallows up the vocals, so you really can't hear anything. So I'm going to show you guys kind of the signal chain that I use for vocals to get them to really stand out. And these are all starting off things that you can use in Pro Tools. So if you're engineering your own music, this is perfect for you. So we're going to go over here to where it says verse, these little empty slots with the dots next to them. Those are going to be where you select your plugins. So I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to go to Plugin, EQ, and then I'm going to go up here to the EQ3 7 band. Now, this comes inside of Pro Tools. This is something that you have the second you buy Pro Tools. So I'm going to come down here to this bottom left where it says LF. Now this middle knob is your frequency, meaning wherever you move this, if you notice up here inside of the spectrum analyzer, that this red dot correlates to the red, the orange correlates to the orange, and so forth. So when I move this frequency knob, you'll notice the red dot moving left to right. So I'm going to set this at about 65 hertz, and I'm going to gain it pretty much all the way down. Now, the reason I do that is to get any low rumbles that don't really help the sound inside of the vocals stand out. You know, any kind of sonically insuperior sound that's kind of a booming bass, I'm going to take out because I want to use the bass from the beat. So the next thing that I always do is I come over here to the green, and I'm going to set this at about 3.2 thousand hertz. And then I'm going to gain this up about 2.5 dB, just because between, depending on the person, between 2 and 6,000 hertz is really where I like to peak it to get the vocals to stand out. So just based on these two little moves that we did, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click off and on this EQ while the vocals are playing so you can hear the difference.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Et si ma vie n'était qu'un rêve, je veux faire la monnaie.
So you can kind of hear the difference, but not really. I just kind of added a little presence to it so it kind of stands out more. And you know, just doing this to the vocal probably isn't going to add a whole lot, but this combined with the next things I'm going to show you is really going to help your vocals stand out. So we're going to close that EQ. Then right underneath where we put the EQ, we're going to click, go to Plugin, Insert, Dynamics, and then if you're just doing, you know, Pro Tools plugins, you're going to go up here to BF76, which is the Bombfactory compressor. You're going to put that on, and I'm going to do the input a little bit under 24 for the sake of this, and then the output about, I don't know, 16 or so, and then the attack will put about 4 just for this. And I'm going to switch this on and off so you can hear it kick in and kick out. And you can adjust all these knobs in the compressor depending on the type of vocal you have and how much you want it compressed and how much more louder and presence you want it to have in the mix. So this is going to be with it off first, and then I'll switch it on.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days.
So, most noticeably to people that don't understand kind of what a compressor does, you can obviously hear that those parts where the compressor on, the vocal stands out more. So actually, I'm going to bump this input knob up to like 12 and the output to 12, which is pretty extreme, but just to let you hear what exactly it's doing. So we'll start with it off and then kick it on.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days.
So you can hear right there that kind of just pushed the vocal way up. So we're going to go back to kind of the original settings that I had before. Maybe bump them up just a little bit. So right now, all we have in the vocal chain to kind of get them to stand out and sound good is a EQ, the EQ 37 band with the low end, tapered out, and then about 3,500 hertz bumped up. Then we have that followed by a Bombfactory EQ with about a 20-ish input and about a 22-ish output. Now, the next thing I'm going to add is a DeEsser, which is going to help get rid of all the S's that you hear, especially if you got somebody that's talking how I'm talking right now that had a lot of S's coming out. That's really going to help get rid of, that kind of just popping and cutting through the mix. So I'm going to click right underneath where we put the Bombfactory and the EQ. I'm going to go to Plugin, Dynamics, and then right up here you'll see DeEsser. Click that. This actually, you know what? I'm not going to show that one to you guys because that is actually one that doesn't come with Pro Tools. That's a Waves one. But inside this Dynamics, the DYN3 DeEsser, this one actually does come in Pro Tools, so you guys can, just use this. That was my phone going off if you guys heard it. But anyways, so this is going to come up, and I usually set the frequency about 6,000 hertz. You can drop it all the way down to 500 and something, depending on the type of person and recording you have. All of this stuff I'm showing you, you can play with, and it's going to change depending on the vocals that you use. So I'm going to set this about 6, and then the range I'm going to set about negative 1.5, meaning any of the S's that sit around the 5.96 thousand hertz are going to be dropped down about 1.5. So let me mute all these other plugins, and I'm going to play this for you and switch it on and off like we did, and you'll see it moving inside of the DeEsser.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days.
So as you can hear, that kind of just takes the harsh edges off of the S, and you can see it moving inside of here. And then really, like I said, you can just go in here and play with it however much you want it to turn down, where you want it to sit. It'll depend on your voice. And then the fourth thing that I would kind of go ahead and, if you wanted to put in, would be some type of reverb or delay, depending on, what you want to do. And if you guys have watched any of the previous videos, you know that you wouldn't put it in here on the chain. You would go next to here, you would go to bus, and you would create a bus send and all that. And if you're not sure how to do that, you can go back and look at the other videos on the channel where I show you guys how to do that. So let me go ahead. I'm going to turn off all of the 3 plugins that we use. I'm going to play this for you raw, and as it's playing, I'm going to turn on the plugins so you can hear how it sounds.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Et si ma vie n'était qu'un rêve, je veux.
So the compressor is a little low, so I'll go back in and let's say I'll turn up the input and the output, and usually I'll have the output a good bit higher than the input. depending on what I need. So let's go back again, play that.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days.
So you can hear right there the difference, with the plugins off and with the plugins on. So I'm going to turn the plugins off one more time. We're going to actually turn on the beat, and I'm going to play the vocals with the beat completely raw, and as it's going, I'll turn on the plugins.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Et si ma vie n'était qu'un rêve, je veux faire la monnaie tous les days.
So as you can hear, this is a really simple vocal chain in Pro Tools that you can do that just really kind of helps your vocals stand out in the mix and not get stuck behind the beat. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys now. I'm going to take all these plugins off, and I'm going to show you guys the chain that I use, which if you scroll down, you can kind of see a little bit of what I did in some of the other tracks. And this was a really weird mix, and that we did some unconventional things with the reverb and whatnot. So I'm just going to go in here and kind of show you guys. It's still the same. I do an EQ, compressor, DeEsser, and then I might add one more thing. But this is for if you decide that you want to buy some plugins instead of just using Pro Tools. For my EQ, I use the FabFilter Pro Q. I love this. It's got super cool look to it. It's got a super cool interface, huge amount of points that you can put on the EQ and whatnot. So I'll go in here and kind of just EQ this how I would a normal vocal. Then I'll close that out. My go-to compressor is obviously a universal audio compressor. I love this legacy compressor. It's incredible. So let me go ahead and set this for you guys. Then I'll go down here. My DeEsser is usually the DeEsser that I pulled up before. This is actually a Waves plugin that I really like. That I'll set for the DeEsser. And then sometimes what I like to do is I like to go in here, and let me see if I can find it. I don't use this very often, but there is something to be said for like adding a little bit more presence, and I guess you could call it wetness. So I'll use this one knob wetness plugin, and I'll just turn it up like 2 dB probably. So let me turn all this stuff off for you, and I'm going to play the vocals with the beat and let you hear it dry, and then let you hear kind of my vocal mix. Now, if you notice, I didn't listen to any of this while I was setting, so it might be a little hit or miss, but here we go.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Et si ma vie n'était qu'un rêve, je veux faire la monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Monnaie tous les days. Peu connaissent nos bails. Laisse-nous faire nos affres.
So, as you can hear, I kind of had to adjust the compressor, and this wetness knob I think is really cool because it's almost like a reverb if you listen to it without it. Just the vocal.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on...
It's really dry, but I'm going to play it again and kind of turn this on for you.
Elle kiffe mes néros parce qu'on pense qu'à faire la monnaie tous les days.
So it's almost like a small plate reverb, which I really like. So with that being said, guys, this is kind of how I go about getting my vocals to stand out in a mix. I had a lot of people ask me how I do this. A lot of people come to me for their mixing because I kind of take pride in how much I can make the vocals stand out. So bottom line, if you're just using Pro Tools, or if you want to go out and buy some of these plugins I showed you guys, EQ first, compressor, DeEsser, and then anything else that you might want to add. Also, one last thing, I'm going to hit Command plus to show you guys this. Where this verse is, if you notice, I have the volume at -12. Don't resort to pulling your vocal all the way up to where it's distorting and it's +7 dB or whatever. You can always add more, but you can only take away so much. So with that being said, pull your vocals down, play with these plugins to kind of add the volume to it, and just listen to make it fit into your beat. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this helped a lot. I had a lot of requests for this, so I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you need anything, you can check me out at www.aburnsproductions.com, or you can email me at www or I'm sorry, email me at aburnsproductions@gmail.com. I'm easy to get in touch with. If you guys have any questions, specifically shoot me an email. If you have any topics you want me to cover, hit me up. Till next time, you guys keep creating, keep perfecting your craft, and I'll see you guys next time.